If you're on the hunt for actionable insights on escaping the corporate grind, embracing entrepreneurship, and building financial freedom, then you've found your guide. Welcome to The Deep Dive with Drake, where the success stories of real entrepreneurs unfold. Join host Drake Abshire as he delves into creating a multifaceted entrepreneurial career, inspired by his impactful Southern heritage. The stage is set. Let's embark on this journey with Drake.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another amazing episode of The Deep Dive with Drake. Today, we got another fascinating guest for you guys. I am so excited to introduce you. Oh my goodness, I'm probably going to butcher your last name. Is it Ngo?
That's perfect, actually.
Ngo?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right, I might leave that in there then.
Yeah.
Jay, today we've got another fascinating guest for you guys. His name is Jay Ngo, and he is a real estate expert. He's a broker, a mortgage strategist, a successful entrepreneur, and he's got just a wealth of knowledge. He's been someone I really looked up to most recently because we've partnered together at Epic Realty, and I want him to share a bit of all of the experiences, the strategies, the insights that he has for you guys, and I think y'all are going to really, really enjoy this. So we'll explore Jay's journey. We're going to talk about all of these things, uncover his secrets with his success, and then we'll wrap some things up with some lighthearted and fun questions. But let's get rolling. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, man. So we're so excited to talk with you. Go ahead and give our listeners here a little bit of background on who you are.
Yeah, so Drake, you kind of hit on the top of the nail there a few moments ago. I am a real estate broker. I'm also currently a mortgage broker. And for that matter, one other thing that you may not even be aware of, I'm also an insurance broker as well. So that's been ongoing now for a good number of years. The real estate part is now 23 years and counting. The mortgage part is 21 years and counting. And man, do I sound old when I say that. The insurance part of it is more 6-7 years now at this point in time. So I do operate all three businesses concurrently at this current moment. But definitely real estate is kind of where my heart is what I know best. However, I will tell you that some of our close friends have always known me on the mortgage side. Charles, you mentioned, we both know him as a great guy. He always thought that I was that mortgage guy. In fact, for the longest time, he goes, Jay, the mortgage guy, right? And I'm like, yeah, I was okay with that until obviously we did the real estate stuff. But regardless, yes, I'm licensed in all three areas. I'm also currently, I obviously, have sat in various different executive positions, certain leadership positions and whatnot, as a broker, as, presidents or various other seats throughout my years here in the business. But the one thing that I'm truly fascinated about, the one thing that I'm really passionate about is honestly just helping agents, helping loan officers, just helping people in general grow in those three industries. Is just a passion project. I've been very fortunate in my career where, frankly, I've made some right decisions. Don't get me wrong, Drake. I've also certainly made some really bad decisions as well. But but fortunately, I've made more right decisions than bad decisions. So it kind of helps out a little bit there for sure.
Okay, awesome. Well, so what drew you think, to all of these different industries? Because you wear a lot of different hats here. So you have real estate, you have mortgage, you have insurance. What really was the draw for you?
You know what? At the end of the day, it comes down to dealing with people. I love talking with people. I mean, I like, like yourself, clearly you're pretty comfortable with this stuff as well. And that makes it easy. It makes it enjoyable. But the truth is, when it comes down to it, it's not just being able to talk with people, enjoying the conversation and whatnot. Is there substance behind it? Are we actually doing something that actually will translate to, some positive, result for that individual? It's important for me, and this is how I typically will look at things. I go into every single business venture, every single relationship, whether it's personal or professional. The first thing I think about first thing that comes to my mind is, what's in it for them? What can I do for you? That's the first question I ask. And I think, if we all start with that question, it doesn't matter what industry we're in. And this particularly, obviously, since we're both aligned in the real estate business, that really should be the first question you should ask anyone, whether it's a buyer, a seller, or frankly, another agent that may be potentially considering an alignment with you. It comes down to, what can I do to help you grow?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. What do you think has been essential for you personally with finding success in all of these businesses? Or the key factors is what you would say.
Yeah, I think is consistency, commitment. I preach that day in, day out. It's probably the key to everything I've done. Let me just start by saying, Drake, I'm not the best at anything. I'm not perfect. I'm far from being perfect. I make mistakes still every day, every moment of the day. Made one right before this particular conversation with you today. So it's still, and you're only human, right? But I think one of the key factor and really seeing success is being consistent and being persistent in that consistency. I tell people all the time, especially younger agents coming into the business, even, agents who have been around for a few years, maybe even 5 years and still haven't seen that level of success. I ask them, what's the biggest deal here? And oftentimes what I find is they may start something, but they stop way too soon. Sometimes it's on the cusp of success and they just can't see beyond that. And so they throw in the towel oftentimes right before that opportunity actually pops up. But it is really about consistency. Like I said, you don't have to be the best. And I've seen this, and I'm proof of you don't have to be the best to still be relatively successful, right? Just be consistent and just being diligent about it. I've said it many times. If you come into something and you have an open heart and open mind, willing to learn, willing to help, I think you'll be just fine as long as you are consistent and persistent in those thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. What do you think has probably been one of your biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your careers, not career, but
Right.
and how did you overcome it? Maybe tell us a little story.
Yeah, you know what? I think when it comes down to it, it's not so much whether it's real estate, mortgage, or any other industry that I've been involved in. And those are the core, the crux that are there for the last 20 some odd years at this point in time. I really try to stay within either those industry or parallel industry that attach somehow to those things. I don't try to be the best at anything, to be honest with you, because, or rather the best at everything, rather, because this is not possible. But I try to be the best that I can be at those very specific things. And those things typically all kind of converge and are connected in some sort of a hub connection to one thing, which is real estate. For me personally, I have to say it comes down to people. I hate to say it that way. And a lot of time, in an ideal world, everybody gets along. And I think it comes down to just personality. That's been probably the most extreme part of my frustration sometimes. And I've said this before to a lot of people in private, and I'll say it here as well. I think the biggest issue for me, is really aligning with people and the right people, wanting to do the same thing at the same time, at the same level of intensity. Far too often in my career, and obviously it's been now 20 some odd years, I find that when I start something, because I'm pretty intense, I'm pretty committed. When I go to doing something, I'm 100% laser focused on getting that thing done and doing it the best way I can. It may not be perfect, it may not be for everyone, but it's the best way that I can put it out there. And for me personally, a lot of people do come and say, "Hey, listen, Jay, what about we do this? What about we do that?" And as soon as I say yes, 3 weeks later, 3 months later, usually it's right about that time. I'm looking to my left, I'm looking to my right. I'm like, all right, Johnny, we said that we're going to do this. Where are you? So it comes down to back to kind of what I said earlier about being consistent as well. I'm almost OCD, to be honest with you, on that level. That once I say I'm going to do something, I gotta do it. There is no deviation from it. I've even had this talk with my own wife where I told her, hey, listen, I'm going to work on this project, right? And I said, honey, you're probably not going to enjoy being around me for the next, 6 months to 12 months as I focus on this project. I do actually have this conversation with my wife, and she's very understanding. She's super supportive. But even so, there's going to be moments where it's going to be like, hey, we're still a married couple here. What's going on here, right? So there's that as well. But for me, it's all about really what it comes down to. Probably the biggest challenge for me is all the different personality, all the different level of or back end motivation for each individual that really whether or not determines whether or not they're going to do it at the level we want them to do that. So at this point in my life, and it's been a couple of years now, I realized that I should stop expecting anything from anyone. Just listen to them, hear them out, do our best to try to get along and work in an efficient format as a collaborative way as possible. And it served me well so far at this point. But it did take me back for a moment. And frankly, for a lot of years, and I'll be honest with you, I was in search of Jay in other people. And it's just not a healthy thing to do because like I said, I'm kind of OCD when it comes to work, and I shouldn't expect that from everyone. But there are certain individuals that even make me look bad, to be honest with you. We know some of those people, but they inspire me rather than challenge me, and that's the thing that I take away from a lot of these relationships. But yeah, it comes down to personality. It's not so much the work or even what industry we're in. It's really personality. That's the thing. I think that's probably the most challenging thing I think for most people in any business is personalities.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm learning that more and more. I dealt with a difficult personality yesterday. But yeah, the more flexible you can be, I've always
Yeah,
find that really, really helpful. The emerging trends, we're seeing like so much innovation, right? And
yeah,
the NAR lawsuit, just so many things happening with our industry and constantly changing. So,
right.
is there anything in those trends that you're excited about or that you see shaping our future that gets you pumped about it?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. There's a lot. In fact, the last brokerage I was with, the current brokerage that I'm aligned with right now and partner with, it definitely has a leaning toward, technology, right? A leaning toward evolving the business, and frankly, even the company that I'm currently with right now is thinking so out of the box that, honest, I've been in the business for 20 some odd years. Frankly, when I stumble across it, I was kind of thinking to myself, well, that's different. And it took me even a second, even with my background and my level of experience, to kind of comprehend and kind of wrap my head around some of the stuff. And frankly, since I've been aligned with this particular brokerage, it's taken me even the last year to kind of even readjust some of my perception of how to run a brokerage. It's a learning process for sure. But I think technology is going to be playing a big role and has already played a big role, certainly in the last 10 years. But with the advent of AI and all that stuff, I know that's the hot, keyword that everybody's throwing out these days. But AI is huge. I've been, ever since it kind of popped up back in 2019 or so, got my attention. And over the last, I would say 2 years or so, maybe 2.5 years, I've really, really, learned to really appreciate it and dive deeply into it and really take it on and really make now a daily workflow of mine at this point in time for almost everything that I do. Chat GPT and all that good stuff. It's insanely ridiculously powerful. And now to be aligned with a brokerage that actually tap into that type of technology and is so forward thinking is amazing and honestly it's a breath of fresh air. Now going into the future beyond obviously that, and you mentioned the whole NAR thing, that's definitely another hot topic right now that's happening. I can see that being another key topic that's going to be discussed nationwide in every nook and cranny of every state of every territory, likely for the next several months, if not the next year entirety. Eventually I think that's going to fade out, and that will, because things will be the norm and people will be like, okay, well, this is now how we do business. But that's another big part of there. There's a lot of discussion. I think there's still a lot of misconception in what that all means. And myself and a bunch of our leadership right now, we're out there in the field, really trying to educate the publics, particularly agents nationwide, on what it is, why it is, and how we can react and how we can actually work that into our daily practice. And that's really the key to everything is, understanding what it is that we're talking about with accuracy and not trying to always, add our spin or opinion on things. Just take it for what it is. And if you
Yeah.
understand it, you'll be able to navigate it much more effectively.
Absolutely. It's a lot to take in, that's for sure. I feel like I'm still learning new things constantly, and I feel like it's all that
Yeah,
we've talked about the past 6 months. But
yeah,
let me
absolutely.
ask you, let me ask you this: what about people that are looking to break into the type of fields that you and I are both into? What kind of advice would you give them?
At one point in my career, if you asked me that, and I guess maybe it was youth, maybe it was, the frustration of, just trying to crack it and make it in the field and whatnot. Uh, at one point, I would have said, yeah, don't do it. but, but, in the past, I would say 10, 12, maybe even 16 years now, I've been very, very extremely fortunate in my career. Like I said, making more right decision than wrong decision. That's certainly a key part of it. Aligning with the right people, it's been huge. I've been so fortunate to be connected to such amazing professionals in all the industries, the real estate, the mortgage, and certainly the insurance, but certainly in the real estate for sure, because that is my main focus. I would have to say that the people make a big difference. Leaning into that, find the right tribe, the connection, the right mentor, even that's going to be a big key to that. But really, if you're talking about in reference to the industry is in general right now, it's definitely more challenging in industry right now to jump into. But here's the really cool thing that I don't think anybody's really kind of spoken on or even thought about. The fact that we're changing this NAR thing, the technology thing, right? It's also almost like hitting the reset button of sort. So the agents who are coming in, who may be newer, who may be a little bit more apt to learn, they're going to learn something that's far more advanced, far more powerful. And frankly, this whole NAR thing, it's not even a reset for them. It's just how it is. So for them, I think in a way, for the agents who are actually inbound now, and maybe even for the next year or two, I think it's actually a good move for them to come in right now, because now they actually will start at really effectively at the reset of the starting line again. And that's something that I think a lot of agents are not talking about, and will likely see that as being a phenomenal position to come in and get that initial catapult to get their career going. Unlike an agent who's been here for 5 years now having to try to readjusting. Unlike an agent like myself who've been here for 20 years, and yourself now having trying to like, oh my God, the sky's falling. Let's readjust. Let's figure this out. It's like, for them, it's like, there's nothing to figure out. That's just how you do business.
Yeah. Teaching the old dogs new tricks.
And judging by my gray and a little bit of your gray beard, I think we're pretty old dogs.
We're getting there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think some common pitfalls that people could avoid if you could, turn back and talk to little Jay and say, look, don't do this?
Yeah. I think, I think this is maybe just as an industry, we tend to be perceived as being very egotistic, very arrogant in our belief that we are the best or better than others. I think that's one of the things that so you have to understand, Drake. When I got into business, I was very young. I was in my early 20s. All right. And I also, by the time I was 25, I opened my own first brokerage. Had 65 agents at one point, and went up to 125 associate in my brokerage. So,
Wow.
I guess you can call it a certain level of success at a very young age. And so that kind of also went through my head as well. But it also was a rude awakening when the market shifted back in 08 and whatnot, made me realize that, what, I'm not all that. And it's very humbling, and it really brings you back down to earth and help you to kind of put things in perspective. So I think a lot of time going into this line of work, don't think that you know it all, because you don't. You certainly don't. And don't think that you're the best, because I can promise you, and I'm sure you live long enough, Drake, like myself, where there's always someone better, someone stronger, someone faster, someone smarter. The better looking part, I don't know about, but everything else, it can be, to be true. But at the end of the day, I think you have to be very open-minded. You have to also understand that this business going into, especially real estate, is challenging, is super competitive. Going back with the consistency thing, I think it's critical that we understand that, the thing that we want to see happen, or the result that we want to see, it doesn't happen overnight. It certainly doesn't even happen sometimes even over months. But you have to be consistent even when it doesn't seem like it's not quite working out the way that you want to. And eventually you will see some success. Maybe, again, success is obviously arbitrary, right? Some people see success as closing 100 deals a year. Some people see success as closing 5 deals a year. Some people see success simply by closing 1 deal a year. It all depends what, your perception is. But if the goal is to learn and to be better, 1 is better than 0. 2 is better than 1. 100 certainly is better than 2. So it's just a matter of progressing and being very consistent and understanding and open, and being okay with not moving super fast, because most people won't. And being okay with understanding that even baby steps, it's still, at the end of the day, steps in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. So in the spirit of, diving deep, being a little bit vulnerable with our listeners here, I love to always ask, could be personal, this could be a business thing for you. Do you have something that you fear the most, or maybe an insecurity about your business that you've always had to battle with?
Yeah. I'll be straight with you, Drake. I am not, and I realize this about myself, I'm not fearful of failure. I failed more time than I like to even discuss. And I don't even think, even if you ask me right now to start naming how many times I've failed, I can't even, I don't have enough time to share how much time I've failed. So I'm not fearful of failure. I'm okay with failure, because I also know that failure is an opportunity to learn, an opportunity for success the next time. So I'm okay with failure. the biggest vulnerability that I feel, or my biggest concern, is not delivering on what I say that I want to give or provide or deliver to the people around me. As I said, I'm very fortunate to be working with some of the best in the industry nationwide. And when I align with someone, or when they choose to align with me, or provide me with the honor to be aligned with them, I do feel it is my personal obligation to deliver Jay on the highest level, to support them in every aspect that I can. At the same time, always look out for them before I look out for myself. And so, and again, and even there, as I said, there's a lot of failures. I haven't always been successful even in that. And there's still failures today, to be honest with you. But as long as I know that I'm truly committed, and they see that I'm truly committed to supporting their business and their growth, it always ends up to be okay. But that is probably my biggest thing. I've had this discussion with you and so many other people that you personally know as well, that my biggest fear is not being able to deliver what I want to deliver for the people around me that depends on me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can see how that can even bleed into your personal life when you have so many other, fires burning, right, with all these different businesses and everything. Then it's like, am I showing up for my family? Am I showing up for my
Oh, yeah.
friends?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hence the reason why I said to my wife, when I first, whenever I go into a big national project, I say, honey, for the next 6 months or 12 months, you're probably not going to like me too much. So I do throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing your sentiments. That's great. Let's switch gears a little bit, and let me ask you this: what is your favorite real estate property type and why?
I want to say, it's very simple and straightforward. Honestly, I would love working with first-time home buyer. I obviously haven't worked with buyers and sellers for a long time because of my transition to leadership for well over a decade at this point in time. But I do miss that. And sometimes I show up to, a closing just to be able to see one of our agents hand the buyer the key. I think that is one of the most exciting things, just to watch their eye light up and whatnot and go, wow, I get to be a homeowner. So it's first time home buyer, especially those more challenging file where they never even thought that they could even be in a position to own a piece, of the American dream. That's really what excites me. Certainly, I've worked with buyers and sellers, investors. I'm an investor myself, still very active in that. So I consult on many different range of different types of products, and obviously types of transactions and whatnot that help people. But the one thing that always fascinated me, and I always get the most joy out of, is watching the keys handed to a first-time home buyer, and particularly buyers, like I said, who are a little bit more challenged and in trying to get to that home ownership goal. That's really the fun part right there. That put the biggest smile on my face.
So that's talking on the career side of things, but what about on the personal? What kind of like real estate property do you like and why?
For me personally, so I look at multi-residential. I am definitely gearing toward these days. It's just also part of the market transition, but I'm definitely looking at commercial more and more. I'm also very open and looking at also international real estate. That's kind of where I've been focusing now on the last couple of years. And I would say that this year, going into 2024 and ahead going into 2025, I'll probably spend about 90% of my time probably focusing on international real estate.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream property that you would love to own one day?
A dream property? You know what? My dreams are very simple, Drake. I know there are some people who dream of the fancy house, the big cars and whatnot. I've been very fortunate in all those things. So I'm really not really looking for those things. I have a very simple dream. My simple dream is to be able to be at peace, to help the people I can help, and frankly, to spend most of my day, if not all my day, sitting on the back of a boat fishing. I'm a very, very simple man. The other day, I was telling my wife, I said, you know what? I've kind of reflecting all the stuff that I've done in all these years. And I came back to her that morning. I said, I think the best way to describe myself is I'm just a simple guy with a very simple plan. Now, with that being said, that simple plan is a simple objective, but the actual work to actually achieve that plan or that goal, that destination to get there is far, far more complicated than I like to dive into. But the goal is very simple. Do better, do more for all, as I always say. That is it.
Yeah. I love all of this knowledge and this information you're sharing with us. This is all good stuff, man. Do you have a most memorable moment, you would say, in your career, or something that maybe stands out to you?
I'll think about that for a second because there's been a lot of memorable moments, some bad, some good, right? I think sometimes this the simplest moment when you have somebody. So years ago, I had a young loan officer, real estate agent, who came to me. He didn't know anything about real estate, but he wanted to crack into that. He didn't really know anything about mortgage either, but he knew how to do refinance. He didn't know how to do, purchases and whatnot. So I took him under my wing because I felt that he had great potential. Uh, he's smart as heck. You know, I never have to explain anything twice to him. In fact, I explain it to him once, and he'll come back with 16 different ways to explain it back to me. That's how smart he was. So he was quick, and he was very successful. The one thing that he told me that made my day was that simply that I took out the time out of my day, the time out of my busy schedule to simply pay attention and listen to him. And that actually left a mark on me going forward because I realized how simple things like that can make such a huge impact on another person's life. It's not just simply being the best in anything. You don't even have to even have any skill set. Just the fact that you want to stop and say, you know what? What's going on, Johnny? Tell me. How can I help you? And be honest with you, there's a lot of those opportunities that I've already been, I've already sat in. And many times the answer is, I don't know what to do with you and I can't help you, but I'm listening to you anyways. And that actually has been super powerful with most of the people that I've had the opportunity to work with. It's just simply giving them the respect, acknowledging that they're there. Sometimes it's not even, hey, show me how to do this. At the end of the day, Drake, I think you'll acknowledge with me, everything that we do, whether it's real estate, mortgage, working with a buyer, working with a seller, working with another agent, it comes down to one very simple word: relationship. That is it. That is it right there.
Yeah, yeah. 1,000% agree. Relationships have changed so many things about everything that I do. Just all of these things. This is the reason
Right.
I have this podcast, is amazing relationships that I've built with people. So
Right.
yeah, this is
Honestly,
great.
that's one of the things that caught my attention when you intervened, Drake, is that I was kind of watching some of your videos and whatnot you share with me, but the most important thing is that you took the time out to reach out and say hi, even though we didn't know each other. You did reach out. You're very pleasant, about it, but you're very more than pleasant about it. You're very personal about it, and that's really kind of what stood out. I mean, obviously, there's no doubt that you're an amazing agent yourself, Drake. Okay, that's a given. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're fantastic with your buyers and your sellers and all your clients. The
Oh,
thing that
shucks.
the thing that's the thing that really got my attention was the fact that same thing, kind of like when I told you about the young agent. You took the time. I'm not a young agent anymore these days, but you took the time to reach out and say, "Hey, listen, Jay, let's talk." And it wasn't even about real estate. And that's the really amazing and fun thing about it, is that it doesn't always have to be about work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And speaking of always not about work, we're going to play something that I think is really, really fun. We're going to do some rapid fire round
Okay.
questions. And what I want you to do is you're going to answer them and just give me the first thought that comes to you. Okay.
Sure.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning. All day long.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Favorite book or movie?
Oh, you're not gonna like this one. I'll give you both. Shawshank Redemption is one, the movie.
One.
The book is The Art of War.
Oh, okay. I don't think I know that one.
Yeah.
One place you'd love to visit?
Uh, Tahiti. Haven't been there
Oh,
yet.
sounds awesome. Yeah. And then last but not least, your favorite food?
Oh, taco. So Tuesday is a good day.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a good taco, man? So good. All right, awesome. Jay, this has been fantastic. I love getting to know you and, sharing some of your insights. This has been really, really great. Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners, or any well wishes you want for them?
Yeah, I mean, I can only leave with this: is at the end of the day, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. And in a few days here, you'll be the first to know. In a few days here, it's actually going to be my birthday. And I thought about this for the last week. It's like, I'm approaching another year. What's going on? What have we done? What have I done? Have I done what I wanted to do? Where am I going to be doing it? How I'm going to be doing going forward, and that kind of stuff. And I realized that this whole thing has been a journey, every aspect of it. Being in the business now for 20 some odd years, I'm still learning something new. I'm still meeting a lot of new people. I've certainly have made some great friends and still exist today. Unfortunately, I've lost some friends as well, but there's also so many new friends that I'm about to make as well. So honestly, after being in this business for 23 years, Drake, I have to say that I cannot tell you how excited I am for the next 23 years. It's you just have to wake up with every single day and just really be able to open your eyes up and be very happy with what you've done, wherever it may be, whatever it may be, or what level it may be. You've got to be content with yourself. And then find the right tribe to really push you further, because I think that's going to be a key to this business. It helps with the motivation and kind of help you to continue to grow. But then lastly, just also remember, how can I help that other person? That's the most important thing for me. That's how I live my life.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. You're so inspiring, because I want to be that excited about my future all the time. But thank you so much for sharing that. And look, if our listeners want to connect with you or just learn more about your work or what do you do, what's the best ways for them to find you?
Yeah, the best way to find me is directly go to my website. So jayngo.com. So that's simply JAYNGO.com. There's a way to contact me, get on my schedule, frankly, learn a little bit more about me and what we can do together as well.
Okay, awesome. Are you on social media? Do you like people connecting with you there?
Absolutely. And again, if you go to jayngo.com, so JAYNGO.com, you will have direct links to, I think it's Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm not on TikTok. I know I've been told to get on TikTok. I need to get better with my dancing and my pointing in the air.
Yeah, we can do a dancing video together at the next conference. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, I'm game with anything.
All right, Jay, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I cannot thank you enough for joining us here on the show. Thank you so much.
Likewise, I've loved this whole time with you. Thank you so much, Drake.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Deep Dive with Drake. If you've enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to subscribe. And please, if you would, I would be honored if you would leave a review for the show. But thank you guys for tuning in as always, and get ready for more exciting episodes. But until next time, keep diving deep and exploring those new horizons.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you for diving into the world of entrepreneurial grit, personal growth, and financial mastery. Drake is here to arm you with the necessary toolkit to cultivate, nurture, and realize your groundbreaking ideas. Keep journeying with us by tuning in to subsequent episodes at deepdivewithdrake.com. The path to a flourishing entrepreneurial life is within reach if you commandeer your professional voyage and steadfastly chase your ambitions. See you on the next highly engaging episode. Until next time.